Welcome, fellow wargamers and warship enthusiasts of War Thunder. This is Gamer1745 here with a pretty detailed look at the IJN Settsu battleship, current top tier for Japan. We're going to start out and look at the history of the vessel, then go in and look at it in more detail of how War Thunder is interpreting it here, and finally get in and play a mission with it. So if you want to jump to any one of those, you can. But first, before we get all that, hey, if you're new here, please hit that subscribe button. You can hit the like button on the video, smash that like button. Really helps out if you share these videos. And of course, I love your comments. Post them below. That really helps. All right. Okay, the Settsu. Sort of yes, sort of no. Is part of well, it is part of the Kawachi-class, second of two Kawachi-class battleships. Mostly the first real dreadnought class battleship for Japan. The one sort of real main indicator of a dreadnought is, at least for the main gun batteries, to all be the same caliber of gun, which these are 12-inch guns. There was a sort of pseudo dreadnought, but had a mix of, I think it was 10 and 12-inch prior to this vessel, or prior to these class of two being made. And this one even has slightly different 12-inch as the main gun batteries. So that's why it's sort of soft ground, but more or less a dreadnought class battleship. Now, it's named after the Japanese province of Settsu, where Osaka is, the sort of imperial capital, if you will, or traditional ancient capital of Japan. So it was, let's see, looking here at Wikipedia, laid down in January 1909, and completed, basically I think they mean commissioned, in 1912. So it gets in there for the First World War. Now, its only actual military engagement, we'll call it, was for the Battle of Tsingtao. That was the German enclave, the coastal enclave in China. In 1914, one of the reasons why Japan comes into World War I on the side of the Allies, I would say that is the sort of secondary for the they didn't end up really owning the conquered territories in China, but what they did grab up was a bunch of the Pacific Islands that Germany, the Imperial Germany, owned, that they went to join the First World War to grab up some of those. So yeah, this basically bombardment of that port was its only engagement. It was placed in reserves in 1919 and disarmed in 1922 as part of the Washington Naval Treaty. But it stayed around as a disarmed vessel. I bet initially as, hey, we could stick guns back on board if we absolutely needed to. But what it was started to be used for as a target ship, and then it had a very interesting little bit of a career after the start of World War II. Well, yeah, back in the 30s, it was set up as a radio-controlled target ship, so they would, nobody would be on board it, and they would control it from a nearby destroyer, and while other vessels shot at it. But it was okay, we're at war. So what they did was set it up as a basically unarmed radio broadcast ship that simulated, sailed at least in one occasion from Taiwan down to the Philippines, simulating the radio traffic of 6 Japanese aircraft carriers, I believe the number was, they were trying to simulate. So the Americans trying to, do radio direction finding and plotting where the Japanese aircraft carriers are. They were trying to fool them. It was after, I guess they gave up using it for that. It was turned back into a target ship, and eventually I think sunk at harbor. Let's see here. In July 45 was attacked by 38 Grumman. Yeah, struck by one bomb. Yeah. So basically, that was the end of it. So this does not have a particular interesting, well, particularly war-oriented career, battle-oriented career. Now, one thing, and took me a few moments, it took me a little while figuring out what on this and some of these other vessels, this thing right along here, and these sort of horizontal pipes going along the sides of the vessel. And there's, you can see here that this sort of big rolled up stuff here on that. That, I believe, is anti-torpedo netting. What they would do is, and it doesn't work while you're underway, but when you're sitting in you're not normally sitting like deep in a harbor. You're normally sort of like it is here, out in the road, sort of out away from whatever sort of harbor that may be. And submarines could sneak up on them, they were worried about, and sink these kind of vessels. So earlier on, they were set up with these to, this is what I think they are. Somebody correct me below if I'm wrong. I would love, if I'm wrong, I'd love to get the right information. That these would, I think, be lowered down and sort of swing out, and then, hang a ways off the edges of the ships to prematurely explode a torpedo sitting, targeting it while it's sitting at rest harbor. Now, I don't know what the hell they're thinking here, quite honestly, but it may sort of work for a small motor torpedo boat. Let's take a look. No, they don't even have it moored. They just have this sitting out here. So I don't know what the hell they're thinking here. With this little piece of twine that would part instantly if that was used to hold a ship. See that thing there? These big round things there, and that's how you attach this. And they did do big, huge mooring buoys. And so you would maybe have the one end of the rope around here, feed it through here, and because it would just rip away the railing here, feed it through here, or just maybe come off, but probably feed it through here and then out to whatever big mooring buoy that they would hook the vessels to. Similarly off the rear here. And of course, if they were going to anchor the thing, you would anchor it by these big chain anchors that would go, go down and grab onto the bottom. Of course, does this have rear anchors? Yeah, right there, and right there. So yeah, these are pretty big vessels. Now, like I was saying, Dreadnought, and I will check out another one of the videos, probably maybe already released, but the Dreadnought was the main gun battery. The idea was all the same caliber. Prior to this, you might have, say, 12-inch, the main fore and aft batteries, and then 10-inch broadside batteries, or mix this, though they did do, these are 50 calibers long, and these are 45 calibers. Caliber is, when it's here as 12-inch 45, it is 12 inches in diameter, then 45 calibers as an expressed ratio of the diameter. So you can have a 4.7-inch 40 caliber. This 40 calibers based, and I don't know the math, but based on the 4.7-inch. So the 240s will be different length on there, and that, so you can figure all of that. It's a mathematical formula, but these are 50s instead of 45s. Lengths. Okay, so this is basically without any anti-aircraft armament. From playing these vessels without it, they are super vulnerable to aircraft. Now, we can take it. Let's take a look at this premium behind us. It allows us to click here, and we can show armor. This is a British vessel here, and so here we go. HMS Belfast. What is this? A light cruiser, I think. Yeah, that'd be light cruiser. So you know, armor plate down here, 114 millimeter armor belt, 50 millimeters for the main ammo handling columns here, and then again sort of 50 millimeters on the side, and what 102 millimeter frontal plate of your turret. But you can come over here, frontal plate of this turret, 279. Same on the sides. Down here, 305, 279, 152 in the sort of the weaker bits. You can see the coal bunkers here. The coal bunkers here. They're thinking this is 3,380 effective at this point. Then these compartments that are in between here, just 28. But realize you also have this armor belt here, below, slightly below the waterline, at 228 and 305, adding to all of this. So you've got lots of armor. You got armor on the top decks for plunging fire. Now, you know, what is the angle of the round coming in? Even these little guns all have, you know, as much armor on them as the main armor belt on a light cruiser. The main bridge areas here, and also back here. Actually, I think sort of this is the bridge up here. This is the gunnery stations here, where you do the aiming calculations that control the main turrets. The main turrets generally can be operated in local targeting control, and they have the the sighting on them to do so, but really they're controlled from either here or here, depending upon what's best for targeting vessels, and they can be all linked from either one. And so, yeah, very heavy armor for this game. Just makes all the other armor look like near nothing. And again, we can see the coal bunkers here, and you can see that as we can sort of look here, you can see this line right here. It is, so we have a little bit of ammo storage that may be slightly above it, but most of the ammo storage is well below the water line. Not always fairly deep in, well, these are fairly deep in the armor here, so pretty deep into the armor sections. Now we do have outside of the armor, which seems to be traditional for these style of vessels. This does have torpedoes, 2 launchers to either broadside, and looks to be 1 to the rear. Let's see, what are they? They're saying, well, there is some machine guns here. MG08, it looks like, or something. Maybe there is some anti-aircraft on it, but 4. And I don't know, those 3 inches would be much anti-aircraft. But yeah, just 14 torpedoes on board. I guess they're not counting the number of tubes. Now, as when I looked at another vessel, you can check out the one on the SMS Helgoland, where we go into a little more detail. How these torpedoes might be a little useful when fighting other line of battleships in lines of battle, which did happen sort of at the Battle of Jutland, though I don't think anybody hit anybody with their battleship mounted torpedoes. But we can see with all of this armor here, they're hoping to get through with the main guns, but main guns aren't necessarily a single hit, aren't necessarily going to be a devastating hit to the vessel. Where if you can hit with a torpedo well below the water line, Even if we come here to the armor, you know, get well below the waterline with some of these, you start, you know, sinking the vessel while, you know, all the systems up here are still functioning. It can start sinking, which is not helpful. These aren't submarines. So this does have 4 machine guns on them. Can I spot them here? Is that one? I don't know. Yeah, that looks like one. So there's 2 of them there. So yeah, these have some machine guns somewhere on them. Not very many, won't be very useful. And we're at 45 kilometers an hour max speed. Yeah, so reasonable gun. Oh, and we have a bunch of the 6 and 4.7 and 3-inch guns mounted around. Some just mounted on top of turrets, others in casemates on the side, others like mounted in here. You know, so because these are considered AA guns. Okay, wonder how effective they'll be. I've actually, as you can maybe tell, I have not. I've been playing the American and German battleships. I have not played this, so I think this will be my first time out in it. But yeah, well, mentioning that, let's head out in the Settsu. See if we can get in a match fairly quickly, and hopefully a good one. Go off its abilities. Yeah, oh, yeah, good. Well, this seems mostly protected from a lot of torpedoes, depending on the map you get. It depends upon the map, how effective torpedoes are. Now, if we get close to some of these islands, we have to watch for small boats coming out. Now, I'm going to go to nobody firing. Now, if you're going after particularly destroyers and light cruisers, you want to use your high explosive rounds and not your penetrating rounds. What happens with a lot of these is the fusing on the rounds, the armor penetrating ones, need to encounter enough of an obstacle. Yeah, dude, I can't go any faster than this. Either you want to get super friendly or you need to steer around me. Give me a nice view of your ship while you're doing it. Oh, disappearing, okay. The fusing on them is that there's, it needs to hit a big enough object inside of a smaller vessel. So yes, if it does go in and hit a, you want to fire at the cargo ship, put the cargo ship out of its misery there. You know, hit an engine or something in a destroyer, then it will detonate and explode. But otherwise, those rounds will generally pass through one side and out the other. And in this game, probably won't do much damage to... hey, good, we got a hit on that. Ooh, there's a torpedo boat that's probably just fired. Well, it's just torpedo the way it's turned away. Turn off the screen as we're playing this arcade here. And that way we get a lot more torpedoes. Bam. Another hit onto that cargo vessel. those torpedoes are going over that way more that he launched. We'll get reloaded. Okay, so it's coming in sort of that way. Well, there was a pretty good hit on that vessel. I do fear the torpedo boats and aircraft much more than I fear the bigger vessels in this. And currently, this is of course just after the new power update was released, so this is a top tier. Okay, let's turn on and the secondaries. Maybe they'll deal with that. Ooh, got a gun turret there. Deal with some of the smaller vessels. See, I'm still at 88% for whatever hits I've got. Damage the secondary gun. Okay, oh, he's listing badly. Okay, oh, good, yeah. So I sort of thought they were going that way. I wasn't paying enough attention though. Okay, let's retarget this light cruiser over here. Swing this way. Oh, another good hit on him. Well, maybe not that good a hit. But a hit. Sort of swing to use the loading times to your advantage, though these aren't as maneuverable as okay, he's coming towards us this way, so blow that one. Oh, there we go. Forward turret out. Not that that hit the magazine, but the magazine hit really should be able to be devastating to that. So, a light cruiser like that, or even to a battleship like this. Come on, load people. Yeah, they're shooting at my small boats. I'm running into the land. Load. Oh shit, see if we can turn, Okay, no, I'm gonna take it right in my coal bunker there. Oh, and it killed me. I must have got in between one of my coal bunkers and yeah, you did well. One of my coal bunkers and the other armored components there, because those coal bunkers will take a lot of damage. Well, I think because we're going to focus on this, I think that's going to end this video. No, we're going to go. Well, let's go back to hangar. Return to hangar. Yes, return to hangar. So you don't need to show off other Japanese vessels here. Focus on the Settsu. To hangar. Right, so that is the, no, this is the Settsu here. Decent enough, it seems, as we can see here. That it hit, I think, right around there, so that devastating. Where when I've been hit with the Helgoland at times with the torpedoes, here does very little damage, but does, of course, cause leaks, but with a decent crew you can repair the leaks and get stabilized. So I think that is where I was hit, wasn't it? See, it came in, yeah, I think right about below that turret. Okay, so keep in mind there, because these are like crazy thick armor on them. So hey, that's what happens. So that's what I fear more is torpedoes or bombs from the air. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, post them below. I'm not sure that I can answer, but maybe somebody else will. And so, good hunting in your battleships. See you next time for more historical gaming videos.